Team India have been facing troubles in their stay in Sydney ahead of their fixture against Netherlands in the T20 World Cup. In fact, as per BCCI sources, the men in blue have been receiving stale and cold food, with sandwich being the only item that's provided post their practice sessions. Further, the Team India has refused to attend the practice session after they were offered a venue in Blacktown, which is close to about 40-45 kilometers away from the hotel that they are currently staying and, of course, from the Sydney cricket grounds. In fact, ICC sources, though, have refuted these charges, claiming that players were informed very well in advance about the food items on the menu. As far as practice venue is concerned, ICC sources say that venues are provided as per protocols. Nikhil, on that, Nikhil, give us the fact. What's really the truth? ICC says that this is false information. They were very well given an idea on what's on the menu to eat, so this was no surprise for them. One. Two, on their hotel being at least 45 kilometers away from the Sydney cricket grounds. That's just torturous to be going in and out for their practice sessions all the way. Tell us a little more. What's the real truth there?
Okay, Nabila, let me address both issues. Let's talk about the team hotel and where the Sydney cricket ground is. I don't think that's an issue because the team hotel, I'm at the Sydney cricket ground right now, and my hotel where I'm staying and the team hotel are just next to each other, and at best it takes about 15 minutes to get from the team hotel to Sydney cricket ground. So that's a non-starter as far as the controversy is concerned. I think what they may have been a bit concerned about is the practice today, a day before the game, was not scheduled at the Sydney cricket ground. That was scheduled at a suburb in Sydney that happens to be 45 minutes away. But I don't think the Indian team is complaining. That's because this is a multinational tournament. There are multiple countries participating, and as we speak in Sydney there are 5 teams because there'll be many matches. Even when India play their game against Netherlands tomorrow, you'll also have a scene where Bangladesh will be playing South Africa earlier. So multiple teams are practicing at the Sydney cricket ground, which is right behind me. There's only one practice facility. So what the ICC does is allot teams by rotation which day where they get to practice. So on a given day, all 4 or 5 teams present in a city cannot be practicing at the Sydney cricket ground. So by the luck of draw, India got a chance to practice at the Sydney cricket ground yesterday, 2 days before the game. That's why they came out in full numbers, practiced here. And that's when the food controversy also happened. A day before the game, for example, Bangladesh were practicing here today. They may have been scheduled to practice at the suburb yesterday. They may have chosen not to go there and practice only today. So I don't think the Indian team is complaining about the distance. That's exactly what happens. And I think it's the same for all teams because you've got so many teams and you have to fit them into various practice facilities. Anyway, the Indian team had decided not to practice today. Maybe because the practice facility was far off. Nothing that the Indian team is complaining. Let's get to the food issue now, and what the ICC, and I think there are 2 sides to this story. ICC made it very clear the food menu for what is to be served 2 days before the game was made available to the Indian team well in advance. There's a player's handbook. You can take a look at each day, what time are you practicing and which venue are you practicing and what food would be made available to them. Had the Indian team objected to the food that was being made available at the time, maybe the ICC or the local organizing committee may have looked at that and then tried to rectify that. On the other hand, they also mentioned that the food that was made available was the same for all teams. Thirdly, in terms of what the protocol is, it is the local organizing committee that organizes, but I think there's a difference of culture as well that we need to look at. If you travel to anywhere in Europe, in Australia, it's pretty common to have cold sandwiches and falafel and fresh fruit for lunch. We in India may not be used to it. We're used to a hot meal, and maybe the ICC or the organizing committee could have been a bit more sensitive to that and have understood the demands of the local team. As I said, both parties could be faulted for not having the right kind of food that they may have been looking at. But as I said, 2 sides to the story. The ICC has also said that we haven't yet received a written complaint from the BCCI. What we're getting to hear is that the team is unhappy via sources. So the ICC says once we get a written complaint, we'll also look at this matter more deeply.
Take it up.